All right, everybody, welcome to Brighter. So today we're going to talk about the ending of Tesla's Q3 production and delivery numbers. What has happened in this quarter? We're literally just 10 days away from the end of the month, which is the end of the quarter. So I've got Brian White with me, and he himself follows Tesla's production and delivery numbers quite closely, and he has been very accurate. In a previous show, we have shown his accuracy rate. And so I wanted to bring him in and tell me what's going on with Q3 numbers and where you think it's headed. What do you think, Brian?
Oh, who knows, man? Thanks for having me on. No, so what we've seen, my projection from what was it, the first week of the quarter, was that numbers would be down, and I've issued a few revisions since then, but the highest I went is that they would be about flat, and now we're seeing that no, in fact they're a little bit down. So what we've got is Fremont should be chugging along as usual. You might see a 1 to 2% increase. Then you've got Shanghai, which we know should be down. The Model Y lines are running just great. The one of the two Model 3 lines is running just great, making performance models that can be shipped to Europe and sold internationally and domestically. But the Highland line is still ramping. That's a new product with substantial changes. And while the numbers are looking great so far, this does suggest that they would be down. If we look at the CPCA numbers, the China Passenger Car Association, we can see registrations have fallen for 3 straight weeks, suggesting that they have moved the backlog of the previous cars and that the new ones are still ramping. Moving over to Berlin, numbers should be largely unchanged. And then in Texas, we've seen quite a bit of slowdown on the Model Y line. And we haven't heard a reason for that. It could be that there's some retooling going on. We do know that they've temporarily discontinued the 4680 version of the Model Y out of Texas, but that's likely to stockpile batteries for the launch of Cybertruck. And I am of the belief that Model Y in Texas is being slowed a little bit to allow demand to catch back up. They don't want to cut prices again just yet. So the alternative is just slow production just a little bit. So those numbers should be down a little bit for Model Y out of Texas. And then you've got Cybertruck, which has not yet entered production. And even though they are making some, they will not be counted until they're saleable, which is not a point we have not reached. And I don't believe we're going to be counting any Cybertrucks towards this quarter's figures. I think any deliveries we see at the delivery event will be likely for employee purchases. And there may be a handful, but not a meaningful number that would move the needle on, 400, 500,000 in total. So this quarter may be down a bit. Next quarter, I expect to be up a bit. And the rumors we're hearing on Highland refresh, the 3 fresh out of Fremont, is that it will not be ready until Q1. So I think Q4 is going to be pushed real hard to hit the 1.8 million sales figure target, production target, and that in Q1 they will begin revamping to ramp the new Model 3 out of Fremont.
Okay, that's a great rundown. Thank you for that. Very detailed on production. What about deliveries, right? So, what I've been hearing is that Tesla had inventory, and so they was able to, kind of soften the while production was down. Of course, we knew that they had to do that with refactoring of the production lines, but deliveries might not be as down as much as we want. However, a very recent, about 2 weeks ago, Deutsche Bank had a chance to speak to Tesla directly, and they had a line item there in their report that said something like the inventory is going to soften the blow, but it's not enough. It won't be enough. That there will be actually
That
still lowered deliveries. What's your expectations?
My expectation is the days of inventory will be drawn down a bit. They will not be the 16 or 18 days we saw last quarter, but they won't draw it all the way down. It won't be like at the end of 2019 when every showroom was stripped of its demo models so they could sell them in time to get the credit, the full credit. This will be, they do have some opportunity to draw down. The reason it's not necessarily going to save them is because the slowdown is only on Model 3, and the buildup of inventory was across all models. So it didn't matter how many S and X you may have had stockpiled. That doesn't help you when the model that's slowed down is the Model 3.
Okay. Let's take a look at what Troy Teslike has said here. He sent this tweet out this morning or yesterday, actually this morning, sorry. But he did say that this was his numbers from September 13th. He has a new update, but he hasn't shared that yet. So as of September 13th, his estimate for deliveries for Q3 is 442,000, and a little bit lower than 447, what he had on on the week before. The analyst consensus is 462, which is the same. And then he said that there's many changes. So he might be popping back up like he normally does. He always, at the very end of the quarter, he always pops back up, getting closer and closer to, where most of us are sitting. So he shared his table. Let's take a closer look at this. This is obviously a very big table here. So okay, so basically it's his delivery estimates for 2023. You can see that Q1 on the left, it's broken down by model, by factory, and then by country, and then worldwide totals. So if you look at Q3 here, we're looking at boom, 442 is what his Q3 total is going to be, and this is how he broke it down by that. Anything here that differs from what you're thinking? I'm sorry. I should be doing this way. Right. Right. I'm sorry, guys. Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the reduction in Model Y from Q2 to Q3 is too dramatic. It's not going to be down 25% plus. That's too large of a decrease. Let's see. Shanghai. Shanghai Model Y. Oh, I see. No, I don't know. Apart from that, that's the one that really jumped out at me. Is that's an awfully big decrease. I think what's really going on is it probably wasn't 42,100. And remember, we all have to read the tea leaves a bit because these numbers are not published. We're left making some deductions.
I see.
SNX at 13,000, I think might be a hair low at 12,500 might be a hair low. Show me what Q2 was real quick. Yeah. Okay. Then no, I'd say that's about right. Then actually, I'd say if anything, it might be a hair high, but those price cuts were deep and effective, apparently. So I think that would help. Yeah.
Okay.
Texas.
I mean, in my
Yeah.
mind, Q3 numbers shouldn't be a big deal because it's built in. They announced it at the earnings call. People are aware that the reason why they're doing it is a temporary slowdown in production line, refactoring it, which is going to be better for Q4. And what matters, I think, is down here, right? So
Right.
Tesla's target is 1.8 million, and even Troy is still at 1.8 million, despite this whole talk about reduction in deliveries or production in Q3. So for me, it's a nothing burger. But so in your mind, you're still pretty confident that this is what's happening, right?
Well, absolutely. You have to make a pit stop to come back into the race even
Nice.
hotter. And there are looking out past Q3, we're going to get some answers awfully soon on what to better expect. Trying to predict Q4 and especially Q1 production numbers for Cybertruck today is impossible. We don't know what the production complications or delays are. We don't have a clear picture on the battery situation. Are they able to use a 2170 pack in it for a standard range version? We don't yet know. But what we do know is they're very nimble. And when demand softened for the long range, they made a medium range for a while to sell it to people. And it was, not something they wanted to do, but something they were able to do. They made corked versions of the S75 and sold them as S60s because we'd rather have the sale than sit on inventory we can't move. And I think we're seeing when it comes to companies like Lucid, they have dropped the price of their base model to something like 85,000 and they're still having trouble selling them. Out of spec motors, out of spec reviews, Kyle, his dad, out of spec Dave, bought a Lucid and only owned it for about 2.5 months, and he lost 15,000 in that time in depreciation. in 2.5 months. These cars are, it's a tough time for luxury EVs, regardless of what brand you are. And Tesla is still knocking it out of the park.
Yep.
And as interest rates improve, we'll start to see sales improve. And I'm still, this may surprise you, Herbert, I'm still quite bullish.
What is your end of year? Tesla still says the 1.8, and they said many months ago earlier on. I don't think they repeated this statement in the last Q3 earnings call, the Q2 earnings call, but they did say that it's 1.8 million, but could be 2 million. That was a long time ago. Right now, they still reiterate the 1.8 million. Where are you at this point for year end?
Over 1.8 is my take. The only obstacle there would be if there's an unforeseen problem ramping the Cybertruck. The Model Y lines can get back up to speed. Hopefully, they have not sold every car they can at today's prices, but if they have, they'll drop the price another $1,000, $2,000, and kick sales back into high gear. There are a few supply chain issues that are not so much part shortages as just sourcing issues. These are new parts. In a lot of cases, a lot of the things they're getting, of course, the windows and brakes and door, latches are all standard. But when it comes to the batteries and a lot of the components within the batteries and the battery management system and all the chips, there's a lot of parts that didn't exist 10 years ago that
Mhm.
are absolutely critical to sell a car. And 99.9% of a car is not a car. It's just a chassis waiting to be completed.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you. I don't think I introduced you at the beginning, but you're the host of My Tesla Weekend on YouTube. Folks, follow him there. Appreciate him. Every Wednesday and every Thursday morning, he joins me as well. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank you, Herbert.
Hey there, thank you for joining me. If you can, please consider supporting this channel so I can keep it going. It's a lot of work arranging all these amazing interviews. One of the easiest ways is just to click that join button and become a member of the channel. Thank you very much, and let's get brighter.